CBS, I'm Beth Jones.
And I'm Peter Dubois. First tonight, healthcare workers at the Down East Community Hospital in Machias walked out and went on strike today.
It's the first day of a two-day strike by nurses and technicians to protest what they say is the administration's refusal to address their concerns about recruitment and retention. A statement from a hospital spokesperson says there are no outstanding negotiation proposals from the union that involve safe staffing, safe work conditions, or patient safety. The nurses and technicians have been negotiating a contract since September of 2023, and they've been working without a contract since mid-October.
We're here for our patients, we're here for our community, and we're fighting for our community. And we want our hospital to focus more on patient-centered care than profit generating.
We're really lacking in support staff. You know, if our nurses and techs are having to do jobs of secretaries and CNAs because there aren't any of those, then, you know, it takes away from our patient care.
A statement from Julie Hickson, the Director of Marketing and Communications for Down East Community Hospital, said, quote, "The union chose to strike over wage negotiations. Over the past 4 years, the DECH union members have received unprecedented increases of 40% or more in their wages. We are extremely competitive on our current wages, and to put significantly more money into the union compensation would not be financially sustainable for the hospital. As always, we will continue to negotiate with the union to finalize an agreement," end quote. The hospital says contingency plans are in place to address the strike, and they say they will continue to provide safe, quality health care to the public.
The investigation into a fatal shooting in Bangor is ongoing. Divers have been in the Kenduskeag stream looking for evidence in connection with the shooting on Highland Avenue that happened on April 2nd. 24-year-old Daniel Ford Coates of Bangor was pronounced dead at a local hospital after being found with a gunshot wound shortly after 4 a.m. 20-year-old Olivia Babin has been charged with manslaughter in that case.
Well, switching gears now, on Monday, Governor Mills issued her final decision on 2 gun control bills passed by the legislature. The governor allowed one of those bills, a 72-hour waiting period for all firearms purchases, to go into law without her signature. This bill will affect all purchases made at licensed gun shops. The governor also vetoed a bill that would have banned bump stock-like devices, citing the bill's, quote, ambiguous language and the fact that a federal ban on bump stocks already exists. Gun control advocates say they're thankful for the laws that did pass this session, but are disappointed at the veto.
What a momentous day this is for Maine, that we are now going to have expanded background checks, and 72-hour waiting periods is an enormous shift and a really big step in the direction of gun safety. We have further to go, as is evident in the fact that she vetoed the bump stock ban.
Because the waiting period bill was not passed under emergency legislation, it won't take effect until 90 days after the legislature adjourns. Meanwhile, the legislature will return to take up vetoed bills within the coming weeks.
Advocates calling for changes to Maine's child welfare system rallied at the State House today to spread their message on the last day of April, which is Child Abuse Awareness Month. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard spoke with those in attendance.
We often say how terrible events are the catalyst for change. How much more terrible does it have to get?
Walk a Mile in Their Shoes is an organization formed by former State Senator Bill Diamond with the mission of ending the deaths of children in state care. He says despite the increase in awareness, the problem is continuing to get worse.
In 2021, we had 34 children in state care that died, and that was a record number. And not to be more depressing, but in the last 2 years, 54 children have died.
One of the speakers at the rally was Mary Ann Spearin, a superintendent for 2 school districts, who says oftentimes the voices of educators who are legally required to report suspected cases of abuse and neglect goes unanswered.
We make reports to the state hotline. From there, we trust that it goes somewhere else and that somebody else is then following up with the kids and the family. And having been in the school systems, I know that it went days sometimes without that happening.
One of the other topics touched upon at the rally is the need for more to be done to increase transparency and regulation for DHHS. This past legislative session, lawmakers had the opportunity to separate the Office of Child and Family Services from DHHS. That bill passed in the Senate but was killed in the House.
I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't get to continue the discussion because, as you know, it passed in the Senate. And so I think the House, we could have some good discussion about it.
DHHS has said they will be taking into consideration suggestions by Walk a Mile in Their Shoes and other groups for how to improve the safety of Maine's children. Diamond says he'll be paying close attention.
What we're going to do from this point forward is we're going to hold accountable the changes that we're hearing may be made.
At the State House, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Secretary of State Shenna Bellows is asking for the public to weigh in on the wording of a referendum question on November's ballot. The question centers around limiting the amount of money that can be donated to independent political action committees. Those groups are not associated with a candidate, but they use money to support a candidate. Currently, the question is worded as such, quote, do you want to set a $5,000 limit for giving to groups that spend money independently to support or defeat candidates for office, end quote. Secretary Bellows says asking for public input can help ensure the question makes sense to the average voter.
And as secretary, my job is to draft the question, but this is the people's question and will be the people's vote. Therefore, it's really important that members of the public have an opportunity to weigh in on the content of the question. We've posted a draft question, and now people have 30 days to share their point of view, not on whether the question is a yes vote or a no vote, but is the question clear? Is it concise and direct as possible?
Submit your comment or learn more. You can visit the Secretary of State's website, and you can see that right on your screen at the bottom there.
A former China resident convicted of multiple sex crimes against a child under the age of 14 is now challenging that conviction. Jared Jandro was found guilty of 5 counts of unlawful sexual contact, 1 count of sexual solicitation for gross sexual assault, and 17 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. During testimony at his trial, Jandro's ex-girlfriend, Jessica Cox, admitted she was the woman who took the photos of the child and sent them to Jandro. Prosecutors said text messages were evidence that Jandro persuaded Cox to send him sexually explicit photos. Part of Jandro's challenge centers around the scope of that warrant that allowed police to obtain the messages and images.
No one disputes that when you have an alleged GSA between a defendant and a victim, each party wants every communication between those two. It'd be insane to ask otherwise.
No decision was made today, and it's unclear at this time when one will be made.
Well, there's been another major bust of an illegal marijuana growing operation in our area. The Somerset County Sheriff's Office executed a search warrant in Madison where they found a truckload of marijuana plants and processed cannabis. This bust was led by the Somerset County Sheriff's Office with assistance from the Federal Drug Enforcement Agency, Homeland Security, and other agencies. Over 1,800 marijuana plants and 10 pounds of processed cannabis were seized in the operation, as well as assorted other drug-related documentation and paraphernalia. Although no individuals were located at the residence, charges are expected against the individuals responsible for the alleged illegal operation once the case is reviewed by the Somerset County District Attorney's Office. An additional detail there, out of 14 similar illegal marijuana grow operations that the Somerset County Sheriff's Office has interrupted, they say this residence had the worst case of black mold infestation in the interior of the buildings.
Portland police say it's too soon to tell what kind of an impact they're having after putting more resources into the Bayside neighborhood. It's in response to complaints about crime after a landlord shared video of violence and drug use on Portland Street. Mal Meyer heard from some neighbors who say they'd like to see a different approach.
It's a garbage pit.
Marion Leach doesn't mince words about her neighborhood.
There's drugs, there's alcohol, kids can't go to school, people are shooting up on the sidewalk.
Last week, Portland police added 2 more officers to the Bayside detail.
We have 4 officers basically assigned to that area 8 hours a day.
Why not split them up and cover more hours of the day?
So traditionally it's been from noon to 8 p.m. every day, that's where we see the most activity.
And he says if a pair of officers makes an arrest, it still leaves a team free to continue their work. But there's also others focusing on this part of the city.
From the police department side, we're putting a lot of resources down there to try and address all the concerns that the neighbors have given us and that we're hearing about.
It's appreciated but completely reactive.
Bayside Neighborhood Association President Sarah McNevich says problems with crime have popped up in different spots over many years.
They're issues that shouldn't be okay in any neighborhood at any time.
She's seen similar attempts before at policing the problem.
And it had minimal impacts. I think this also will have minimal impacts.
She believes part of the problem involves too many people coming to one area.
Concentration of social services has made it harder for those people to get better, and it's made it harder to control the impacts.
The nonprofit Preble Street says in a statement, low barrier shelters play a really important role in bringing people inside and off the street or from encampments and connecting people. The people with the most significant challenges and most dire needs in our communities, the most vulnerable people with services and stability. For Leach, she'd like to see people held accountable.
You gotta have consequences. There's no consequences for anybody around here.
Chief Du Bois urges residents to reach out.
We're working on this. It's not going to happen overnight. It's a slow process.
And that was Mal Meyer reporting. Yeah. All right. Well, looking outdoors today, we reflected on it earlier, but really mild and nice day out there.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty much picture perfect for the most part. We hope everybody got the chance to just dip outside for a little bit and enjoy. And let's get a first check of our forecast and see what we can expect overnight.
Thank you so much. Our first weather tonight is brought to you by Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, providing relief to people who are experiencing issues with pain, dizziness, or balance. Physical is spelled different because they are different. And weather-wise, though, was a different looking day out there today. 61 degrees here in town. Felt nice and warm. A little bit cooler right at the coast. Check out Rockland, only at around 50 degrees earlier today. And same story just down south. Now, more and more clouds are rolling in. That's because some rain is going to be here overnight tonight and then into those morning hours tomorrow. Overall, though, the winds are pretty calm at the moment, 5 to 10 miles per hour. We are looking at a light breeze overnight as scattered showers move in and not lasting for long. Temperature-wise, though, back in those mid-40s.
All right, well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, Maine receives federal funding to expand its broadband network, and your input could help decide where the money goes.
And safety preparations are now underway at the Penobscot Narrows Bridge Observatory as they prepare for opening day. Those stories and more when we come right back.
Transform your surroundings with Paramount Paving, located in Bangor. They are your paving and seal coating experts. Whether it's residential maintenance to full commercial projects, Paramount Paving delivers quality that lasts. Book before June 1st and enjoy a $250 Visa gift card upon completion of your next paving project. Call us today at 602-8931 or visit us at ParamountPavingLLC.com. Paramount Paving, setting the standard for excellence. When it comes to paving, we are Paramount.
Feeling Claritin Clear is like...
Is she letting her imagination run wild even though she has allergies? Yeah.
At Hood, our love for New England inspired New England Creamery. We make it with premium Hood milk and cream, then we overload it with the good stuff. Like Green Mountain Mint chip with a rich fudgy swirl. Maine Sweet Blueberry with real delicious blueberries. And Cape Cod Fudge Shop, packed with fudgy truffles. Hood's New England Creamery, from Hood, for New England. Try all 10 flavors.
When the acres add up, so does the work. The Kubota LO2 Series is ready for it. Part of the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience, it features powerful, dependable Kubota diesel engines, performance-matched attachments, and the versatility to get the job done right.
Available at Doors Equipment, 1468 Outer Hammond Street, Bangor.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
with USPS Ground Advantage.
We turning it up to 11.
It's nonstop Masked Mania. All new Masked Singer, Wednesdays on Fox.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, we'll have all the latest from Augusta about the decisions on the gun control bills. Plus, emergency evacuation drills are being practiced at Fort Knox. We'll have video of that. And Hancock County has plans for a new courthouse. We'll learn more about these stories coming up on this first day of May on Good Morning Maine.
Dozens of students from Oxford Hills High School spent the day learning about potential careers that highlight Maine's $3 billion outdoor economy. The high school students attended sessions led by University of New England students in the newly launched Outdoor Business and Innovation major. They took part in games, leadership training, and career preparation sessions. The coordinator of outdoor recreation and education for the university says the program is more than classroom learning and bookwork.
Trying to show them some alternate paths for a career, and outdoor recreation isn't normally what comes to mind, but it makes up a third of business ventures in the state of Maine, and there's so many opportunities, whether here on the ocean or inland in the mountains. The possibilities are endless for outdoor rec in Maine, and trying to share that with students and show them some possibilities.
I do want to work outdoors with nature or something like that. And that's what I've been wanting to do my whole life.
Says there's a lot of overlap between academics and recreation on campus, offering mutual support for students.
Well, recently, Maine was awarded $272 million in federal funding to help expand broadband in the state, and now you could help determine where that money goes. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard explains.
The statewide challenge process is the next step in our BEAD journey. That's the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program.
Brian Allenby is the communications director for the Maine Connectivity Authority. He says the state was awarded over $270 million in federal funding to help expand broadband access in the state. They've started a state-led challenge process for municipalities, tribal nations, and nonprofits to participate in and share their data with MCA.
There are a number of different types of challenges, everything from whether the service that's reported to be available at a location actually is available, whether the speeds reported at that location are actually delivered.
Of course, if you're not a municipality, tribal nation, or nonprofit, you can still participate in the process by doing an individual speed test.
What's unique here is it's a little bit different than some of the speed tests you've seen in the state of Maine in the past. We need 3 separate speed test samples from that same location over 3 different days. The system is set up once you register your speed test the first time, you take your first test, it'll send you a reminder email each successive day. So you just have to go back and take 3 of those tests.
The reason why the challenge process is so important, Allenby says, is because they're working from older data from the FCC, which may be outdated or inaccurate.
It's really important that those organizations as eligible challengers and individuals can take part in the state-led challenge process to help us understand where the data in that FCC map isn't accurate.
Maine Connectivity Authority will take the results of these challenges and determine how the funding gets distributed based on the needs of the community. To learn more about the state-led challenge process, you can visit our website. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
In preparation for the opening of the Penobscot Narrows Bridge Observatory in Prospect, employees spent the beginning of this week practicing ways to evacuate the structure in the event of an emergency. Our Jody Hersey followed along during their training.
We're beginning our descent.
The Penobscot Narrows Bridge Observatory attracts thousands of visitors each year. Guests who ride the elevator to the top to see views like this. The bridge, which is owned and maintained by the Maine Department of Transportation, is operated by the Friends of Fort Knox employees. Those employees spent Monday and Tuesday training on how to evacuate the building in the event of an emergency or if the elevator itself experiences a malfunction.
The elevator's not the only situation. We might have a heart attack. Well, there's an AED at the top. We might have a cardiac arrest. All of those things are part of the training that we do, the first aid and CPR and the AED, just so we're ready.
Michael Locke has been employed with the Friends of Fort Knox since 2013, and he's held just about every position.
Just like in the fire department, you know, you practice and you hope you never have to use it, but when you do, it becomes more an instinct than, oh gosh, what do I do next?
On Tuesday, the employees went down flight after flight of stairs, experiencing firsthand what it would feel and sound like if they had to evacuate guests. Practicing these emergency exit drills, Martin says, is all part of getting the Penobscot Bridge Observatory ready for opening day.
Probably 3 years ago was the last time that we did a stairwell exit.
Kathy Hartigan says trainings like this help ensure that everyone knows what to do.
If you're in a situation where you do need to evacuate a beautiful building like this, things are in place to make it easier and safer for everybody involved.
In Prospect, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
And some good news, both the Penobscot Narrows Bridge Observatory and Fort Knox will open for the season tomorrow.
Good news indeed. Well, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, we'll be taking a look at the latest updates on the Trump hush money trial.
And the latest on the Israel-Gaza protests happening at a number of college campuses. Stay tuned for those stories and more.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are zero, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save. Even if you don't think you qualify, it pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extrahelp.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
HCM is a serious heart condition affecting as many as 1 in 200 people, like me.
And me. I was still short of breath on my beta blocker.
So I talked to my cardiologist
and asked about treatment advances in HCM.
That talk made a real difference.
It gave me new hope.
Talk to your cardiologist today. Visit hcmrealtalk.com to learn more.
From the land to the sea, Chase's Family Restaurant is the place to be.
Are you looking for a place to unwind after a long day?
Then come check out our Hideaway Lounge.
With a bar that's both upbeat and laid back. And it's the perfect atmosphere for anyone who wants to unwind after work.
Or kick it up for the weekends with daily drink specials and a full dinner menu.
You can fill up on a good time any night of the week. Thank you for being a part of our family.
Here at Chase's Family Restaurant.
Thousands of kids like Grayson and Elliot receive care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center each year. You can help them by supporting the Summer Classic for Maine Kids. This golf tournament will help kids receive care at Northern Light Eastern Maine Medical Center by raising funds to ensure that health care is available today, tomorrow, and in the years ahead. Every dollar raised helps kids get back to the business of being kids. For more information about the tournament and how to register, please visit northernlight.org/forkids.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
The New York jury in former President Trump's criminal case heard from more witnesses today after the judge fined Trump $9,000 for violating his gag order. Fox's Connor Hansen has details from New York.
Court proceedings resumed for the week with Judge Juan Merchan's decision to fine Trump $9,000 for 9 different Truth Social posts violating his gag order. The judge warned the former president he could be jailed if it continues. Trump is not allowed to publicly comment on witnesses and jurors.
It's absolutely outrageous. The idea that President Trump should be sent to Rikers over essentially reposting things that other people had already said about how unfair his cases are.
The jury heard from several witnesses, starting with Gary Farrow, a banker for Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen, who set up an account and a $130,000 transfer at the center of the trial. Farrow says he didn't know what it was for, but stopped doing business with Cohen after the Stormy Daniels hush money story came out. Lawyers also questioned an attorney who represented both Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, helping sell McDougal's affair story about Trump to the parent company of the National Enquirer. Some say they're still waiting to see a smoking gun connecting Trump.
We still did not get that direct link connecting Trump to this payment that would put him squarely in the crosshairs of criminal jeopardy.
While President Biden campaigns in Delaware Tuesday, Trump is impatient. He'll be in the Midwest on his day off from court Wednesday.
I'm going to sit in a freezing cold icebox for 8 hours, 9 hours or so. They took me off the campaign trail.
The former president's son, Eric Trump, was in the courtroom Tuesday. Trial will pick back up on Thursday. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are becoming more concerned over the growing number of protests on college campuses, and they're considering a bill which would pull federal funding from universities who can't protect Jewish students. As Fox's Rebecca Castor reports, even President Biden's education secretary admits some of the protests have crossed the line.
A Free Palestine banner now hangs from Hamilton Hall on Columbia University's campus after student protesters took over the academic building Monday night. It's the latest escalation as students at universities across the country continue to defy campus rules. And Washington is taking note.
Smashing windows with hammers and taking over university buildings is not free speech. It is lawlessness.
They're a bunch of little babies that don't understand the reality of the world around them.
This is out of control. We've got to protect the innocent students there.
House Speaker Mike Johnson plans to bring an anti-Semitism awareness bill to the House floor this week, which could redefine what's classified as hate speech. It could also pave the way for protesters to face criminal charges and allow lawmakers to cut federal funding to universities that don't control anti-Semitic behavior.
If they're not doing their job, everything should be at risk. Their whole enrollment base. You think parents are going to send their children to these schools that they're seeing total anarchy?
The White House condemned the protesters' violent rhetoric, something the Secretary of Education reiterated Tuesday afternoon on Capitol Hill.
I think what's happening on our campuses is abhorrent. Hate has no place on our campuses.
Yet some lawmakers think those are empty words.
The Biden administration is utterly failing the American people right now and failing the Jewish community across this nation. And I ask you to do more.
Columbia officials now say students who broke into Hamilton Hall could face expulsion from the university. In Washington, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
3 of the 4 law enforcement officers killed in yesterday's standoff in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a suburb there have been identified. Samuel Polash and William Alden Elliott, officers with the North Carolina Department of Adult Correction, and Officer Joshua Iyer were fatally shot while serving a felony warrant at a home. As soon as they arrived, the suspect began firing. Fox's Jonathan Seri has details on the investigation.
Authorities continue to investigate Monday's deadly standoff in Charlotte, North Carolina. Investigators questioning a woman and a 17-year-old who were in the home during the 3-hour ordeal, trying to determine if there may have been more than one gunman.
They are fully cooperating with the investigation, and we are not looking or interested in any additional suspects or any persons of interest.
The horrific scene unfolding Monday afternoon when the U.S. Marshals Task Force attempted to serve a warrant on a convicted felon for possession of a firearm. As they approached the property, the suspect opened fire.
He had a high-powered automatic rifle that he was able to start open fire on our officers, and then
as others responded to try to save the officers that were down. They were also hit with gunfire as well.
A total of 8 officers were shot during the standoff. 3 of the wounded died at the hospital. And a Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department officer, a 6-year veteran of the force, fought for his life but died hours later.
It's devastating.
The 39-year-old gunman was also killed in the shootout. That's when they believe a second shooter began firing at authorities from inside the home. President Biden releasing a statement Monday evening saying, quote, "They are heroes who made the ultimate sacrifice, rushing into harm's way to protect us. We mourn for them and their loved ones, and we pray for the recoveries of the courageous officers who were wounded." The Charlotte police officer who died had been named Officer of the Month for April. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the World Health Organization says there is a risk of the bird flu spreading to cows in other countries outside the U.S. The WHO official says the H5N1 virus could be spread from migrating birds. And while it's unclear how the virus is transmitted among cows, she warns cows outside of the U.S. are at risk of contracting the virus. As for the public health risk, she says it's low, but for those around contaminated animals, birds, or environments, the risk is a little higher.
So there are a lot of uncertainties. So with all this in mind, and with the virus carrying around the world by migratory birds, certainly there is a risk for cows in other countries to be getting infected.
Officials in the U.S. are trying to determine the safety of meat and milk after 34 dairy cattle herds in 9 states across the U.S. contracted the virus.
Well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, Washington residents were left shocked after a group of zebras got loose. We'll explain.
And in sports, the University of Maine rugby team is coming fresh off a national championship this past weekend. We'll be right back.
Hi, Eastern Maine. Watch 25 Words or Less with me, Meredith Vieira, weekdays at 9 a.m. after Good Morning Maine on Fox 22.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Ugh, when is my allergies freaking gonna kick in?
You need Astapro.
Astapro?
It's faster, bro. 8 times faster than Flonase.
It's faster, bro.
It's faster, bro. It's faster, bro. It's mom to you.
Astapro starts working in 30 minutes. Astapro and go.
Hey, Dad, look.
Us.
This is the magma chamber.
Uh-huh.
This
isn't us, is it? When did we get so connected to our devices and so disconnected from each other?
She's not answering.
What? And when our phones have turned us into this, LT, what do you do when you're a company that sells them? We gotta fix this. It's time to find what we're missing. Join us in taking a break from our devices. Take the phones down for 5 challenge for 5 days, 5 hours, or even just 5 minutes. Feels good. And let's find us again. U.S. Cellular. Built for us.
A quality replacement window made with Fibrix material, which is twice as strong as vinyl, delivered through a stress-free process. Welcome to Renewal by Andersen. Get the peace of mind knowing Renewal by Andersen handles everything, from start to finish. With one call, you'll enjoy working with the best people, exclusive products, and a superior process.
It's the people.
It's the process.
It's the product.
Call now to get our exceptional signature service. This fantastic offer is available only for a limited time. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window.
Great Scott! This is Green Bear 420 in 2010. What kind of trip is this? I gotta get back to 2023. Wait, it's 2015. So much has changed. In 2023, we had a lot more glass, t-shirts, and novelties. It's gonna take a bolt of lightning to get me home. Finally, home at last. Now Green Bear 420, Green Bear Green Care is bigger and better than ever. To be continued.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. Money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do it.
Major League Baseball, all season long on Fox.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Welcome back. It was an absolutely wild sight for some Washington residents who saw zebras running around their yards. Fox's Dave Detling has more.
I called someone. I was like, so I found the missing zebras. Like, they're in my yard.
It's the call you don't expect to make on a rainy Sunday, but it's one Whitney Bloomquist says she won't soon forget.
I mean, this is Washington. Washington alone would I have thought, like, zebras are on the loose in Washington. But let alone North Bend.
4 zebra originally escaped Sunday afternoon from their trailer while in transport not far from I-90 in North Bend. The animals quickly parading around this restaurant before taking off. 3 of them wandering into Bloomquist's backyard.
They like looked right at me, and I mean, I was like, okay, I don't make noise. Like, I think I gotta be quiet. Like, no, you know, you learn with a bear, you know, you make a lot of noise, you got to like make yourself big. And I'm like, with zebras, no one's taught me what to do when you're like approached by zebras.
The zebra once again taking off. One of them believed to be the baby winding up in Courtney Luther's backyard.
He was very skittish and kind of backed into a tree, didn't know what to do, kind of lost his gang, I guess. And so you didn't know when he was going to take off, but once he jetted, we sort of created this human bridge to make sure that he got into the backyard safely, which is where he stayed for several hours afterwards.
3 of the zebra were eventually reunited at this private horse farm.
I've caught a lot of different wild animals for people, for different sheriff's departments and vets and such. It happens, and so we thought, well, let's just see if we can help.
Good Samaritan and rodeo wrangler David Danton using his skills to corral 2 of the animals to safety.
We made it to where the path of least resistance is right where we wanted them to be, and they gently walked up and got in the trailer, and they're fine. So it actually went as good as it possibly could, so it's good.
The final hurdle, working to find the final zebra still on the loose in North Bend.
So it started as a slow Sunday, and now it's a very busy Sunday, very entertaining Sunday, wild.
All right. Well, along that same line, pelicans are getting sick along the California coast, and Fox's Patricia Martellotti visited the wildlife center that's caring for the sick birds.
You can see we have several pelicans. These are pelicans that started inside.
The Santa Barbara Wildlife Care Network is going into emergency response mode with sick California brown pelicans.
We started getting a lot of calls about pelicans in unusual places, being very lethargic.
In just a few days, the Wildlife Center has rescued dozens of sick pelicans across Santa Barbara and Ventura County beaches.
Getting 7 in one day, 2 days in a row is quite a bit. They come in very sick, so they require a lot of nursing care. We're a little concerned that this is potentially a similar event to the one in 2022 when we had a few hundred pelicans that came into our care.
But wildlife experts believe it's too early to state the cause of the pelicans' distress.
So we're a little surprised that it's happening, but we need more information to kind of figure out why it's happening. But I'm so grateful that we're here and able to help.
The wildlife team is encouraging the community to call the helpline if you see a pelican or any animal in distress.
Pelican or not, I would say, please take pictures, note the location. If you can, try to corral it somehow so that by the time we get out there, we can actually pick them up.
And I certainly hope that people are inspired to help in this work. We rely on generosity here at Wildlife Care Network, and we really only do it because we have a supportive network.
Any donation to the Wildlife Center will provide the care, food, fluids, and medications these birds need to make a full recovery.
It's always upsetting for us to see animals in distress at any time, but also worth noting that there are so many dedicated people here in the state of Maine who do similar work, who do their best to, rehabilitate animals and help animals recover from illness or injury, just like the eagle story that we saw, a few days ago. So Mainers, definitely very, very similar in their dedication to Mother Nature.
Yeah, it does. It takes a lot of really dedicated people all over the world to make those efforts happen.
Absolutely. Alrighty, folks. Well, we have our full 5-day coming up. Stay with us.
And get ready, folks. Don't put away those umbrellas just yet. A lot more rain is on the way. We're actually looking at several rounds of rain the next couple of weeks. When? The timing and more coming up.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only Candlepin bowling alley centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today.
Tired of your internet service constantly letting you down? Those other providers may promise the world with their flashy advertisements, but are you truly having a good customer experience? Fear not, because there's a new player in town. Introducing GoNet Speed. No more endless hold times or automated responses. We're here to listen, support, and provide you with the exceptional service you deserve. Our fast, reliable fiber internet, it's mind-blowing. Let us show you what true internet satisfaction feels like.
Introducing the Chevy family of SUVs. Do more with tech. Do more with safety. Do more with style. The Chevy family of SUVs. There's one for everything you do. Qualified Chevy lessees can get this Trailblazer for around $299 a month. Or current Chevy owners can get $1,000 cash allowance on this Trailblazer.
Always dry scoop before you run.
Listen to me. The hot dog diet got me shredded.
It's time we listen to science. One A Day is formulated with key nutrients to support whole body health. One A Day, science that matters.
I have a new show at Fox. It is called Quiz with Balls. Families could win lots of cash, and they could make a splash.
The Quiz with Balls series premiere Tuesday, May 28th on Fox. The Houston Roughnecks take on A.J. McCarron and the St. Louis Battle. Touchdown! The United Football League, Saturday, 3 Eastern on Fox.
And welcome back. Our main weather tonight is brought to you by Washington County Community College. Discover choices, create success. Don't miss out on free college. And let's get right into that. Line of showers. Take a look at this, folks. Started to develop the last couple of hours, and some severe weather is embedded in that as well. Even a couple of tornado warnings closer to Kansas, Iowa as well, and some severe thunderstorms in that region once again. For us, though, not looking at any severe weather. Yes, we are looking at rain, but not too much of it. This is all going to be light overnight tonight and then into those early morning hours tomorrow. Look at Greenville getting in on some showers right now. That rain is going to continue more on the lighter end all over the state, right at the coast, maybe a little tiny bit more of a shower action going on. We're not talking anything heavy. By tomorrow, though, during the day, staying mostly dry. So that rain finally moving out of the area ahead of round 2, moving in by Thursday. And that's just the beginning of all the rounds moving in the next couple of weeks. Rain-wise, of course. Now, the winds at the coast, Rockland, Bar Harbor, Machias, around 5-10 miles per hour. Here in town, we're at a 7-mile-per-hour breeze, so not an issue with the winds for tonight and even throughout the day earlier today. Now, let's talk about temperatures. Remember that long trend of like 8 days of temperatures below average? Then we finally rebounded 64, 58, and then 65 out there for Monday. So a great start to the week. Now, for today, closer to average once again. Our average is around 60, and we were like right at 59, 60, so very close. And 59 for tomorrow, 56 for Thursday, and then pretty much sticking around closer to average, maybe a couple of degrees below average over the weekend, right into Sunday, of course. By Monday, look at that. 60s will make a return. Bring out those grills and definitely enjoy the weather while it lasts. For tonight, though, we are looking at mostly cloudy skies, a couple of scattered showers in the area, very light rain, nothing heavy, no thunderstorms as well. Temperature-wise, though, we're going to be back in those mid-40s with a very light breeze. Now, for tomorrow, though, much better. Maybe a couple of sprinkles in the morning hours. Other than that, mostly cloudy. Temperature-wise, though, in those upper 50s and light, and the winds will be light and variable, maybe around 5-10 miles per hour. Overall, though, sticking around 5 miles an hour. And then our extended forecast outlook does show another round of rain moving in by Thursday into the overnight hours. Overnight lows at around 40. Much better Friday into Saturday, hovering closer to average, maybe a degree or two off into those upper 50s. And then round 3 of rain moves in by Sunday. We are talking rain showers temperature-wise, though slightly below average, hovering back in those mid-50s.
Okay.
All right, so a little activity, but not too bad.
Not too bad at all. Well, sports is coming up next. Keep it right here.
Breathing Claritin Clear is like...
Is he?
Claritin Clear? Yeah.
Fast relief of your worst allergy symptoms, like nasal congestion. Live Claritin Clear.
There's 100 reasons why you should enroll in one of Maine's community colleges. Here are 5. Tuition is free for many, affordable for all. We have hundreds of programs. Our class sizes are small. There's free one-to-one academic advising and tutoring. And we make college flexible. 2-year degrees, 1-year certificates, and short-term training with online, hybrid, and in-person classes. Make your way here. Enroll today at a Maine community college.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a 5th-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Hood milking you. It's why we do what we do. Day in and day out. Making milk you can trust, with no artificial growth hormones. So you can feel good about Hood.
Tonight's Sports is brought to you by Diversified Ink Tattoo Studio in Bangor, located in the Penobscot Plaza, providing custom ink by licensed artists for more than 20 years.
Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Let's start off the top with some hockey. Bruins up 3-1 over Toronto in the first round. They're looking to put it away at home. To the Garden we go. Brad Marchand and the Bees looking to put the Maple Leafs away for good. Down 1-0 in the first. Puck goes behind the net. Toronto trying to clear, but it goes right to Trent Frederick. He puts it on net and ties the score. Ones across the board. To the third period now, still the same score. Toronto with a 2-on-1. Max Domi taking his time. Shoots it over to Tyler Bertuzzi, but Swayman stonewalls him. Keeps it tied. To overtime we go. Bees with an awesome chance a few minutes in. Puck gets centered to Charlie Coyle, but Joseph Wall is a wall. Makes the save. We have to look at that again. That is a great save right there to keep the game tied. And then John Tavares finds Matthew Nyes. He beats Swayman in overtime. Bruins are heading back to Toronto for Game 6. 2-1 is the final. Moving on now up to Orono, where there are some newly minted national champions. Over the weekend, the UMaine rugby team winning their first ever national title. The Black Bears defeating Georgetown 19-15 down in Washington, D.C. to take home the men's Division II club championship. Maine was down 2 scores in the final period, picking up the win with this sudden death try by senior Brett Benham. Few members of the team on Tuesday said it was an amazing experience for everyone in the club.
It's such an incredible feeling to score that, but at the end of the day, none of it would be possible without the hard work of my teammates. We've been working for it all year, and to see it come to fruition like this is incredible.
I laid down and started crying. Seeing everyone put in a lot of work, making a lot of sacrifices. Everyone who's doing this isn't doing this because they're getting free college out of it. They're all doing it because they're having a good time. Coming away with this kind of reward is awesome.
The Black Bears are hoping to reap the benefits of this reward and the buzz surrounding the big win. The program has been steadily building year after year. This isn't their first trip to nationals recently, and the win is a chance to bring more people's attention to the club and to the sport itself.
As a non-varsity program, not a lot of people know about us. We're definitely hoping going forward, a big accomplishment like this is going to bring in a lot of eyes and, get a lot of people excited about the sport. And, as someone who's played rugby since 7th grade, it's really cool seeing the sport grow. And this is a really cool opportunity to kind of bring this sport that we love to the people at UMaine.
All right, let's go to baseball now. Heading over to Hamden to catch up with the leaders of Class A North. The Broncos are off to a hot start. They're looking to end a decade-long drought. Our sports intern, Connor Adams, has the story.
The goal is the whole thing.
Hamden Academy baseball is off to one of their best starts in years at 5-0.
The boys are playing well together as a team, and we're really enjoying it.
One of the biggest factors so far of Hamden's early success has been in the batter's box. They're averaging 9 runs a game, and it's never the same guy every night.
We're deep. We have a bunch of guys. We have at least 2 guys at every position who can play it, and who can be almost a starter at anywhere else other school you look at.
We've had a hard time hitting in the past couple of years, and I think this year our hitting just come together.
The hitting may be off to a hot start for the Broncos, but the defense has not been up to the expectations. Picking each other up and having each other's back is the key to limiting mistakes.
We face a lot of good hitting teams that we got to be able to play good defense, and you can't give them anything.
Even if you boot a ball, just don't get down on yourself, keep going. Every play is different, so you got to be ready.
This year, the Broncos are looking for more than just finishing the season strong by advancing to the Northern Maine semifinals for the first time since 2013. They're taking past experiences into this season to try and get over the hump.
I think it just comes down to the really experience of the team. We're all very experienced ball players.
There's not a lot of surprises anymore, and I think the biggest thing is I'm really comfortable. I don't really get nervous anymore.
And the Broncos love the support from the community and hold themselves to a higher standard when they're in attendance.
There's more people here, more people know about us. It feels more like a real team community. All these kids from our school coming over and showing support, it really makes us feel like we want to win for them.
In Hamden, Connor Adams, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Let's stay on the diamond now. Thanks for that, Connor. Been a pleasure working with Connor this past semester. We'll try to show you more of him in the next 2 weeks. Let's stay on the diamond, though. Maine baseball winning 2 of 3 over Binghamton this past weekend. They snapped an 8-game skid. It was a big weekend for junior first baseman Jeremiah Jenkins. He was named the America East Player of the Week. He hit 3 home runs and drove in 4 RBI over the weekend. And with 2 midweek games, he had a 5-home run week, batted .579 over that 5-game stretch. Currently 12th in the nation with 19 home runs. That's all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
HCM is a serious heart condition affecting as many as 1 in 200 people. Like me.
And me. I was still short of breath on my beta blocker.
So I talked to my cardiologist
and asked about treatment advances in HCM.
That talk made a real difference.
It gave me new hope.
Talk to your cardiologist today. Visit hcmrealtalk.com to learn more.
Bipolar 1, I got help to push back.
I got help to push back.
We got help to push back with Lybalvi.
Once daily prescription Lybalvi is proven to treat manic or mixed episodes of bipolar 1 in adults to help you push back. Elderly patients with dementia have increased risk of death or stroke. Do not take Lybalvi if you are taking opioids or are in opioid withdrawal. The samidorphan in Lybalvi can cause severe opioid withdrawal that can lead to hospitalization or increased risk of life-threatening overdose. Get emergency help if you have trouble breathing, become very drowsy with slowed or shallow breathing, feel faint, very dizzy or confused, or have a fever, stiff muscles, rash, swollen glands, or problems with your liver, kidneys, heart, or lungs. Other serious side effects may include high cholesterol, weight gain, potentially fatal high blood sugar, uncontrolled body movements which may be permanent, dizziness upon standing or falls.
Are you ready? Ask your doctor about Lybalvi. Looking for copay savings? Text copay to 45286.
And Doug.
Hello, Ghostbusters. It's Doug of Doug and Limu. We help people customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Anyway, we got a bit of a situation here. Sure, I can hold. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, in theaters now.
The Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub is world-renowned for beautiful dining with a delicious view, featuring award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. It's a true destination dining experience. Relax and unwind in an intimate space with your loved ones, family, and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table on the deck, whether it's a special occasion or any occasion. The Lucerne Inn is the perfect choice for your business or family gathering.
Buckle up, big boy.
It's Team Lisa versus Team Gordon.
She can Vanderpump off.
We're done.
Food Stars premieres Wednesday, May 22nd on Fox.
Welcome back. Keanu Reeves hits the road for a new series while a Lion King origin story makes its journey to the big screen. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin has that and more in today's Hollywood Nation.
A Lion's Legacy, Country's Party, and Keanu's road trip are in the Hollywood Nation. Keanu Reeves and Gard Hollinger, co-founders of Arch Motorcycle, are revved up for a new docu-series on the Roku channel. The Arch Project will follow the two on a quest to answer the question, where does human creativity and ingenuity come from? By exploring the stories of those whose ideas and achievements they admire.
Somebody save me.
The first round of performers rocking out at the Academy of Country Music Awards has been revealed. Taking the stage at country music's Party of the Year are Jelly Roll, Jason Aldean, Kane Brown, Cody Johnson, Miranda Lambert, Thomas Rhett, Chris Stapleton, and Lainey Wilson. The ACM Awards will be hosted by Reba McEntire and stream on Prime Video from Frisco, Texas, May 16th.
Mufasa.
Today's First Looks is a look back at how it all started for Simba's dad. Disney released the trailer for Mufasa, the Lion King, with Rafiki relaying the legend of Mufasa and how he became king of the Pride Lands. The origin story is directed by Barry Jenkins with music by Lin-Manuel Miranda. Its star voice cast includes Beyoncé and her daughter Blue Ivy Carter, Aaron Pierre, and Donald Glover. Mufasa the Lion King is in theaters December 20th. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, Husson University celebrated the diverse artworks of its students today with their annual Spring Art Walk. The Art Walk is a tradition at Husson University that happens at the end of the semester. It's a one-day show highlighting the various works of art, and it features paintings, drawings, prints, digital media, graphic design, and more. And by the way, the students are not all art majors.
Beautiful. All Husson students take one fine arts credit as part of their general education and foundation in humanities. So some of these students, this is totally out of their wheelhouse, and others are in our graphic design program, but the show celebrates them all, and all students have something to share.
Well, there was no overall theme to the event. Different instructors and students selected the works that they were most proud of.
It's a great opportunity for all students, especially maybe those who aren't art majors.
Absolutely.
Giving them a chance to, express that creative side of them.
Yeah.
And also to showcase their work too, and, maybe open up a path to maybe exploring that side of themselves in their
I just
careers.
think it's courageous in general, especially if you're not, sort of an art aficionado or somebody who's studying art, judiciously, that you would create something and put it out there to be generally viewed amongst the work of students who are artists.
Yeah.
So I think it's courageous that they just put it all out there.
I agree with you there.
All right, folks, that does it for us. Good night.
Good night, everyone.